We have no tripod, we have no lighting, we have no good microphones, but I think you'll forgive us because I have to take this opportunity to chat with Tracy, who's sitting here on the couch with me, and of course, the star guide dog, Blue. My boyfriend is the first one who brought Blue to my attention. Like a year or two ago, he was starting to tell me about oh my god, there's this guide dog on Instagram. My boyfriend's feed, half of it is just cute animal stuff. And so he starts telling me all about Blue, and he was like, this woman, because I was like, this dog sounds incredible. I've never like seen any facility dogs that can do some of the things that Blue does. So I was like, I want to see what school she got Blue from. So I go to the page and I see that you owner trained your guide dog, which is exceptionally rare. It is certainly not rare in the service dog community in general to privately train or owner train, but in the guide dog community, certainly the vast majority of us go through facilities. And thankfully, compared to a lot of other service dogs, there are a lot of options, but that doesn't necessarily mean the options are right for everybody. Every school offers something a little bit different, so it's important to research, educate yourself, figure out what works for you, but for a number of reasons, it might not be right. And you are one of about 5 of my blind followers who did privately train their dog. But I've never gotten to meet any of them. I just talked to them through the internet, and once we met, I was like, I've got to know everything. So thank you for being willing to sit down and chat with me and my followers.
I love this. Thank you.
I would love to hear about your story, if you don't mind talking about your vision loss journey first, and then what led you to getting Blue.
So I lost vision in 2017. I don't like to go into detail on what happened or anything.
No, that's
but
completely
I'm
fine.
low vision, and I was a trainer of people before I got Blue, and I created my own courses and things like that. So I think that's what helped me learn how to train a guide dog.
Right.
Once I figured out what he needed to know, I was able to break it down. And I worked in the beginning, I worked with Michael's Angel Paws, which was a local trainer, but they couldn't train a guide dog. So they helped me with some of the basics and a fabulous program. But I had to explain how to train a guide dog. And in the beginning, this is 7 years ago now, it was very closed. Nobody shared anything. And
Did you reach out to schools? Or?
I reached out to schools. Okay, so I went to the blind center, my local blind center, and they gave me mobility training with my cane and told me I would do great with a guide dog. So I applied to one school and they declined me, and I got discouraged, and I didn't try for anybody else, and I applied at the CNI. And my mobility instructor said, hey, I think that you could do this. You have enough knowledge on how to train. I think you could transfer it to a dog. And it was
so great that you had like a mobility instructor who really supported you and empowered you.
She was amazing. And because I have some useful vision, she would blindfold me to make sure I would do everything correctly. And yeah, she's retired. I wish I could actually reach out to her and show her what we've done. But it was many tears, a long time, a lot of tears. A lot of frustration because the guide dog community at the time was very closed. Nobody wanted to share anything. And I did become a volunteer for Guide Dogs for the Blind so that I could work with some of their puppy raisers. And they did help me quite a bit. And then I just broke everything down and said, what is it that I need? What are the tasks that I need? Not any guide dog.
Because everybody's
what can
different.
They do for me? And my biggest thing is a cane to make sure I don't trip or fall, or the elevation changes to give me all that. But finding a bathroom, finding my husband, finding a doorway, finding an exit, finding an elevator or stairs or a chair. And I think our training process was slow and steady. And every single year I go back to basics for 1 month. And he loves it because there's treats involved, it's exciting, and we get to do all the things that we don't normally do because I want to make sure I keep up on the skills.
And that's so important regardless of owner training or not. Even if you get a dog from a facility, I always say, when you graduate with that dog, you become the trainer.
That's true.
That is now your job to keep up those skills. You can't expect your dog 6 years after training to be as good as it was when it graduated if you have not been practicing those skills. if the dog hasn't done a skill in a year and now you're asking it to do that skill, it's not going to do it the way it used to. It might not even remember. And I just like Blue, Elton, when I do training exercises with him, he loves it. He thinks it's like a game. He thinks it's fun because it's challenging his brain, it's taking him back to his puppy years, and it's really important to be practicing, especially some of those skills like food refusal. That's hard, right?
That is so
Dogs
hard.
love food. And when we're taking our dogs into restaurants regularly, it's so important that they're not scrummaging for food on the ground. That's one of those skills that you might have to practice once a week, whereas other skills you practice once a month or once every 2 months. But those ones that are so instinctually ingrained in dogs, those are the ones you really have to work hard to keep up. Dog distraction is another one.
This is a great place for that.
Oh yeah, come to CSUN if you want to work on dog distraction, that's for sure. And then the training process, like I'm sure you started with normal puppy training. Did you do any like socialization? What was that like?
So yes, on all the above. So I started training him with a trainer day after I brought him home. We taught him how to use his name and to potty on leash on command. That was where we started. And every single week I met with a trainer or did my own thing for like 2 years solid. And we would work on leaving things, don't touch the food. And from very, very young. And then the socialization, yes, I absolutely socialized him with other teams. And I also do something that's a little bit different. I give him a day off, not with me. He gets to go with a vetted trainer, and he goes on a pack walk with a bunch of dogs that are all well trained, and he gets to be off leash and goes hiking and doing things he would never be able to do with me.
Oh.
So I have done that type of socialization almost his whole life, and I find like he's better for it. He's got a well-balanced life, but the training aspect of it, every single week, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week, I go out to malls, to restaurants, to everything. You understand.
Yeah.
But any place that I want to be able to go, I made sure I went so that he understood where we were at and didn't get afraid of things. Because there was some fear, and we had to work through that. And
fears can arise at any point in a guide dog's career. I know that from seeing your content, you've trained Blue to do some pretty interesting tasks, like you had mentioned even earlier when we were filming, like finding a bathroom. That's not necessarily a skill that guide dog schools teach the dogs. They teach us how to teach our dogs new skills,
Right.
but that's not something they necessarily come trained with. So how did you train for those things, and how did you decide what skills to teach him?
That's such a great question. I decided, what is it that's going to help me? That's how I chose what tasks to teach him. And like finding the bathroom, kind of did it accidentally, because from a very young age I just kept saying, let's go to the bathroom, because he was attached to me. During his training, he was attached to me for the first 2 years pretty much. So if I went up to the bathroom, he went with me. And I would always say, let's find the bathroom, and then I'd throw a party and give him tons of treats as soon as we got there. And once he started his guide training at about 18 months, he started leading the way, and he would find the bathroom for me. So I realized then that it was by smell.
Right. Oh, wow.
Yeah. So the nose knows is what I like to say. And once I knew that he could smell things and find them, that was it. Find the trash, which I know Elton can do as well, I'm sure.
Yes.
Find the car. And it doesn't matter if it's my car, it's the Uber that I take often, or it's a friend's car, he will find it. And we didn't even need to come in it, as long as it's somebody he knows. And I recognize that from when I travel to Massachusetts to visit family. I'll be with my aunt, or she'll be picking me up, and they'll take me right to her. So I decided, what is it that I need? I need things my cane can't do.
Right.
I need you to find things for me. I need it to be easy, and I need it to be safe. And so I did some back chaining, which do you understand what back chaining? Okay. So back chaining, to find chairs. I didn't even know how to find a seat, and that they even did that.
Right.
Until I trained it. A few things that I mean, my favorite task is probably that he picks up things for me.
I was gonna ask if you did that. That is honestly one of my biggest gripes, that guide dog schools don't teach guide dogs to pick stuff up, because us blind people, when we drop something, we're like crawling around on the floor trying to find it, and they train wheelchair dogs to do that.
Yes.
And it like drives me nuts. But from speaking with guide dog trainers, they've told me that the reason they don't do that is because they don't want the dog to think it's okay to pick stuff up off the floor with their
Right.
mouth, because blind people can't see if the dog is picking something up with their mouth and what it is and what's in there and if they need to take it out. And so that's the reason guide dog schools have apparently chosen not to train
Okay.
that task.
And that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Around my home, if there's something on the floor that is not supposed to be there, he will bring it to me. I've actually trained all my dogs for this. So I lost an earring, and it was much smaller than this one. I couldn't find it. My husband couldn't find it. And so I sat down to breakfast and I told Lou, find it. He had no idea what he was finding. And he came back and spit that out into my hand.
That's crazy.
Yes. So it is an amazing task. And I won't notice, and I'm sure you have the same thing. You'll pull something out of your purse and it'll drop. And you won't notice that you dropped anything.
Yeah.
He will stop guiding me. I'll stop for a second and then he'll back up and get it for me and just give it to me. So,
Such
yeah.
a good boyo.
Yes, honestly, it's one of my favorite tasks, other than finding the bathroom.
Yeah, truly, that would be such a helpful task. Do you have any tips for training that? Because
Yes.
we as handlers are allowed to train our dogs new tasks if we want to. So
Okay.
that's one I would love to train him to do, but I don't know where to begin with.
Okay, so I use Cheerios for treats. Funny as that may sound, but he loves Cheerios. So you want to get a high value reward. Does he pick up toys?
Yes.
Will he hand them to you?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So
Start
the
there.
command that I have for like letting things go, like a toy or a ball or whatever, is enough. So
Okay.
if I say enough, he releases.
Okay, so for me it's give. So get it and give. So if I get it, I might point at something, or I'll just go like this and say get it, because I can't see where it is. And he'll get it, and then I'll say give, and he'll put it in my hand. But what we started to do was, when he was younger, he would have a shoe in his mouth. And I would say trade for a treat. And they cannot sniff and hold something in their mouth at the same time. So they want the treat, and so I trade for a treat, they drop it, and it goes in their mouth. Some of the trainers that I know and have worked with since then, who are friends, say that's a terrible way to do it. But it works.
Yeah, hey, if it worked for you, it worked for you. You know, and there's like
And-
no one size fits all approach.
I agree. So I'm saying that for me, it was always trade for a treat, and I would leave Cheerios all around my house in little bowls. And if he brought me something off the floor, he would get a treat for it, because it wasn't supposed to be there.
Right.
And now you have to curb that after a little while, and then it's not every time, and then it's only when you ask,
exactly.
and things like that.
Yes.
But that's how we started when he was probably 4 months old.
And the other thing I always think about when it comes to owner training, particularly guide dogs, is the gear. Because those of us who have guide dogs from facilities, we obviously get our gear from our school. And there's lots of service dog vests on the market, and capes, and even mobility harnesses. But from the research I've done, I've never found what is truly a classic guide dog harness just for sale anywhere that I can find, particularly
Correct.
with like the handles have to be the right height for
Correct.
the height of your dog and the height of you.
Yes.
So guide dog schools have a million handles hanging around with all different lengths,
Yep.
waiting to click it in and out for the right person. But from my research, I've never found that just hanging around on the internet. So I assume if you wanted a very traditional guide harness, you could maybe go to like a leathersmith
Yes.
with a mock-up of what a guide harness looks like, and out of metal and leather they could make it. How did you go about finding the gear you have, and what was that process like?
So when I first started out, I got to borrow some or gifted a few. So I have a traditional guide dog harness that someone gifted to me after their dog passed, and they no longer needed it. I had it reconditioned, so it doesn't have anybody's names on it.
Right,
or
no
anything.
logos, yep.
And for me, it didn't work. I shouldn't say it didn't work. It wasn't as comfortable as I would have liked to have been. Mind you, it wasn't an offset handle or anything like that. It was just old school tradition.
Yep.
So there are a lot of different manufacturers that I tried. I want to say I bought 3 or 4 of them. And I used one, probably the cheapest one that I bought for quite a while, for about 4 years, until I finally convinced Ruffwear to let us be a tester. And I'm honored to be a tester with them. And that is what I use now on Blue. It's different. The feedback is much different. It comes from the middle of the shoulders instead of the end of the shoulders. But I can still feel which way he's going because the shoulders still move. I can still feel when his head goes down. The handle moves every which way, long, short. You can change it continually. So if I'm going hiking, I might want a longer handle. If I'm in a convention like this, I want a shorter handle, you know, things like that.
Or high heels. Put high heels on. Want a bit of a longer.
Yes.
So the harness that you're talking about from Ruffwear. I know that some schools like Guiding Eyes uses it for their running program. So the guide dogs use a traditional harness, but then they wear that one when they're doing their running work. And then the CNIB guide dogs actually exclusively uses this harness for all of their guide dogs, walking, running. All of their guide dogs graduate from their school with the same harness you have.
I love it.
So I have a few friends who have either for guide running from Guiding Eyes or from CNIB guide dogs who have told me about it, but I've never actually gotten to put my hands on it. And it sounds, as somebody who's used a traditional guide harness for 18 years, I'm so used to it that I couldn't even imagine having a harness. So a traditional guide dog harness, I'm going to take Elton's off to boot so I can hold it up while I talk about it for the camera to see. I have the traditional...
He says I'm off work now.
Yeah, you're off work. Mine's not offset. You can feel mine.
Yep, so, now he wants to socialize.
Oh, Elton. Oh my God, I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. I love it.
So,
but I'll ignore him.
Mine's the traditional leather vest.
Yes. Oh, okay. So this is what I have. This is very, very similar. And I understand why this has to be loose. I like it stiff.
And you know what? I know that I believe Guiding Eyes for the Blind, theirs is stiff. Theirs is rigid. Which I always found so interesting because whenever I felt my friends' harnesses from there and they're rigid, I'm like, huh?
Like it throws
because,
you off.
Because I like having that.
Let me see. There is, feel it here. Okay, so the handle can twist any which way you want. So what I like about it is I keep it at a natural feeling. I don't have to hold like this.
You don't have to hold straight.
Correct. I can hold whichever way. There's a little lever back here that pops out, and then you can open it. To extend and then twist it whichever way you want. And then you throw the handle back down.
Is this a bell? What's this on the side
This is a light. It's the I think we call it the beacon, and it's from Ruffwear. And so here, hold on a second.
So at night,
let me see if I can turn it on. So at night, or even in a conference that's dark, I will turn it more visible. I don't want to blind everybody over there on who's watching. There you go.
I think I got it off there.
And then I think I got this from Boldly Design, and I just threw that on there because I wanted to have something extra. This is a it says service dog.
He likes it.
Awesome. This is so cool, and I know like a lot of my friends who have this same harness. They say they really like being able to click that handle on and off so easily for like airplanes. So the dog is still wearing their work vest, but they're not wearing the handle.
And it's kind of like ski boots. I don't know if you've ever used ski boots, but I used to ski when I was younger. And it's they said they made it kind of like a ski boot attachment on and off. It's super easy to lift it up. And I'll let you try it in just a second. And then the harness is washable. So
just like a nylon vest kind of.
Here, let me grab. Let me ask them to take it off. Hey, Blue.
Now we're gonna have 2 off-duty doggos.
I know. Wish us luck.
They've been so good about it, though. They've been so good about sitting here with each other.
Can you lie down, please?
He says, yes, I'm very sleepy. It's been a long convention.
All right. So here, let me put the handle back on. Actually, feel right here.
Okay.
And this pops up.
Oh yeah, just like a ski boot.
Just lift it this from the front. And then where's the handle? I lost it. Here it is.
Somewhere here.
Thank you.
And then this just, I don't know if you want to feel it, but it pops in and then you drop that down.
Oh wow, very
super easy.
Interesting.
And you can feel this has a little bit of padding for the dog. The only thing that is, well, it's really not much different. It's a smaller head hole, so they have to get used to that.
Right.
I put a patch on it, but a lot of times you can have it imprinted. What you want, assistance dog, guide dog. I write guide dog, ignore me because it seems to work the best. And I actually have the 3 colors they come in. I have a high visible yellow with orange.
Yep.
I have a gray, which is a little more professional when we go to, an opera house or something.
Right.
And then this is my daily.
And what color is this one?
This is I want to say it's teal blue, would you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, teal blue.
Can I say hi to Blue?
You can. Hold on a sec. Let me get him up.
He says, I've been having a nice nap
I'm going to put
because
this out of the way so that we don't...
I've been doing very good guiding the last few days.
Can you film me?
What kind of, yeah, I'm filming. What kind of voice does Blue have? We do voices for Elton.
Yeah,
Oh my
Elton
gosh.
has a fake voice.
Does he have like a low dopey voice or
Very
does he?
deep,
Yeah.
strong masculine.
Oh, he's so
Strong
cute.
boy.
Stand. Do you
Aw.
want to say hello?
Hi.
Oh, sweet boy. Oh, Elton's like, I need love too. Hey, Baba.
Hi.
Oh, Blue
not-
is giving a crotch sniff.
I
He's
know.
like, I gotta make sure this
I'm
guy's
gonna.
good.
You two. You stay.
Aw.
Hey.
Oh yeah, you're getting. Oh, he's so soft.
Oh, you're such a sweet.
Yeah, I see.
Oh,
you.
big yawn.
Oh.
Elton is whacking his face with his
Elton
tail.
John. It's Elton John hitting you with his tail.
Elton,
Blue.
that's rude.
That
That's
is
rude.
a tolerant blue. I'm sorry,
sweet
sweetie. I don't want to trip on you. Oh my goodness, I'll give you.
We're
I'll
having a
give
little
you
dog
some
exchange here. You get mine and I get yours.
space. Hi.
He's loving it. They're both loving it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm really curious to see if I can slip this on.
Okay, so let
Elton
me.
Melton.
I'm gonna have to
there.
loosen
Get
some
him
of
out
the.
way so we can. Yeah, scooch up, scooch.
Okay.
Elton Melton. Slip your head through.
Very
Well,
good.
acting
He's
like
wagging his
nothing
tail.
to do. He's just like, yep,
He's
yep,
yeah,
yep,
he's
slip my
wagging
head
his tail.
through.
He doesn't care.
He's like, so far this feels normal. Oh, look at him in a little vest.
Bluebee, you need to skip
He's
over
wagging
here.
his tail. Do you like it, bud? Back to work you go.
Time.
Okay, I think he's ready to go.
Okay, yeah.
Get out of the way. Hold on.
This feels really weird. I don't know if either of us can do this. I'm scared. Do you know what's weird? I feel very far back. Like,
Yeah, it's because you're short
I'm
in the
usually
handle.
here.
Yeah.
whereas now I'm back here.
Is that as short as it goes?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it is. I'm getting it short.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay.
You just have to get used to
Elton
it.
John. I never. He's like, no, Mom. Okay, Elton. I never.
Maybe tell him to G a little.
G. Elton. G. He will not. He's like.
Elton, via.
Okay, yeah. I'll put his leash back.
Oh yeah, good call.
Because I had to have like, as well.
Way.
That's really funny.
It's really interesting. He knows how different this is. He's like, this isn't off my gear. Okay. Elton, can you come this way? Yes.
Oh, yeah. There we
Wait.
go.
I never. That's good. Bon chien. I never.
Yeah, he's
I
happy.
never. You're doing it. There you
How's
go.
it feel?
It's really strange. Good boy. Oh, it's so strange. I never. Elton's like, I don't know what we're doing here. Okay, big hash. Big hash. Wee. I never. Yes. I never. I know you're confused, my love. This way. Yes. I never. Ooh.
Does it feel weird being that far back?
It feels weird being this far back. I never. And equally, it's like. Good boy. And I think some guide dog schools actually do have you walk quite far back like this. Like I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the UK and stuff have people stand almost like back at the bum, whereas I'm used to standing more like mid.
I do stand back at the bum.
You stand back at the bum, okay.
Yes, so his back legs and my back legs are usually even.
Right, that's how I am. Whereas when I'm with my harness, I'm like in the middle of his body.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
So
mine's
different.
all the way to his butt.
Yeah, okay.
Back legs, so our back legs line up.
Yes.
That's something else I didn't know.
I'm sure that so many of my followers who have also felt like going to a traditional school isn't the right path for them, but they don't know where to begin with owner training are finding this very inspiring because you started from scratch, like you said, like you tried to find resources and information and it was a lot of gatekeeping and it was
Yes.
hard to find that information. Do you or would you ever offer like consulting where people could
I do
hire
it all
you?
the time.
You do, okay.
All the time. So the community that Blue's pages and social media has built is amazing. Currently, there is a trainer that I work with, that not with Blue, but like she takes him on his pet walks, and we are working with a dog who will be his handler's mobility assistance dog. She lives in another state, and she flew him out to stay with this trainer, and I am helping do the task portion of it.
Nice.
Even though it's not guide work, I am able to
Transferable skills, you know.
exactly.
Yeah.
I'm able to share. Oh, the dog should be able to do this, and then the trainer that I'm working with is also learning because she knows how to train a dog.
Right.
And now, what is it that you need to train? And then, oh no, not quite like that. We need it like this, and she fine tunes it. So I'm helping her. She's helping me, and I help people on our social media page all the time. I'm all about it because I was in tears. I cried many tears in the beginning because the community was rough. 7 years ago, it was really rough. People were not as kind as they are now.
No.
And now they're more open and share how a dog does something. Before, I had to figure it out for myself.
Yeah.
And I got shamed a lot for trying to own or train. And I still do. Sometimes people will say I'm a mockery because I'm not trained like a guide dog, you know, a GDMI from a school. And it's not taken away from them, you know, me doing what I'm doing for me.
Exactly.
And I always try and give that caveat. I am not a professional trainer, like a GDMI, but I've been successful training my own dog, and this is how I do it. I will share that with you. Now, is it the only way to do it? No, you know that. There's so many
Of
ways.
course.
But I am very transparent when it comes to service dogs and how I do things and why I do things. Very transparent and will always help someone else.
I think that's great, and I'm sorry that you had that experience when you tried to enter the service dog community the first time. And I think many service dog handlers, guide or otherwise, like have in some way or another had a similar experience, which is upsetting. I think it's so important as a community, as the disability community as a whole, to understand that even if we have the same disability, even if we both have service dogs or are both privately training, whatever it might be, if we have these similarities, we equally have so many differences.
Absolutely.
And it's okay to accommodate ourselves differently. It's okay to find one way that works for you, but it doesn't work for another person. And that doesn't make how somebody else is doing something wrong or bad.
Right.
It just means it's not for you. And if we as a community are trying to tell the rest of society that we're not a monolith, that we're not all the same, please don't act like we're all going to be the same just because we're all blind or just because we all have guide dogs or what have you.
Right.
But then internally within the community, we're saying, well, why are you different from me? You should be the same as me. We're not really, our message isn't really aligning,
It's a little,
right?
It's a little contradictory.
It's a little
right?
contradictory. It's a little hypocritical.
Right.
And so I think it's just important to remember, like, if we're telling the rest of the public to view us as unique individuals and not just see us for our disability, we in the community need to do the same with each
I
other.
couldn't agree more. And I have met so many amazing people, and I have to tell you, I was telling them that I have followed you for a very long time, and you actually helped me with training Blue on quite a few things. One of them being crossing the street. You did a video many years ago crossing the street, and I'm not sure which dog it was with, but it was a while ago. And I watched that video probably 100 times until I could figure out how you did it. A big misconception. People think the dog decides.
Yes.
And the dog is looking both ways.
Yeah,
And
reading the sign on the other side of the street.
absolutely. And I started making sure I wasn't seeing anything when I would go to a corner so that I could hear and listen.
Yeah, really.
And literally
that
listen
skill.
to that truck. Exactly. And I would use my cane, and you know, my mobility instructor helped me with that, and to be safe. But yeah, I followed you for quite a while just to learn, and you were pretty open. You just, I mean, I never reached out to you, but I watched your videos, and you were sharing things I needed. So thank you.
Oh, that makes me very happy to have played any role in Blue being the amazing guide doggo he is today.
You heard it here, folks. All the credit goes to Molly.
It was all my doing.
There you go. All right.
Well, thank you for sharing, and I'm going to make sure I link all your information down below. I am sure I'm going to have some folks who are coming on over to you and reaching out, and thank you for being that open person who's sharing with others so that they don't have the same experience that you faced. And I always say, like, if you don't see what you need, become it. And that's what you're doing for other people.
100%. Thank you.
Thank you.